Sorry, Mr. Balding, Lydia said quickly. Shift, then, old Baldy said with impatience. Lydia quickly headed for the door furthest away from the caretaker. If he chose to report her, Lydia knew she'd be in major trouble, but she couldn't regret the interruption. Luckily, it seemed as if she was going to get away with it. Old Baldy switched off the lights. Lydia made her way along the quad perimeter towards the school gates. She glanced over her shoulder as she walked. Old Baldy was still watching her, his arms folded and a scowl deepening the lines of his face. Then he crossed the quad and walked away in the opposite direction. Lydia slowed down, but didn't stop. She heard the assembly hall doors click open behind her. Lydia! Lydia, wait! Anne hissed from behind her. With a silent sigh, Lydia stopped walking and turned around. Anne ran up to her. Old Baldy's a real long streak of misery, Anne muttered. Lydia smiled. She'd never heard that expression before. She looked at Anne and her smile faded away to nothing. She looked around. Their caretaker had disappeared. He's probably racing back for his tea, Lydia thought, dejected. She'd been hoping he'd march her right out of the school, locking the gates behind her. That would have been so wonderful. Lydia sniffed, hugging her coat tighter around her. The freezing November wind was trying to blow straight through her. She glanced up at the mid-grey sky. She hadn't seen one scrap of clear, sunny day since she and her family had moved to Yorkshire. At least, that's what it felt like. It's all right. Old Baldy's gone, Anne said. Come on, now's your chance. Oh, Anne, Are you sure I won't get caught? Lydia said. She didn't walk back to the assembly hall. Her feet didn't want to move. Of course you won't. We didn't. Anne's smile was broad. Does that mean you're going to do it? In the long pause that followed, the howling wind around them began to drop. A sudden thought had Lydia smiling inwardly with intense relief. How do I get the cup out of the cabinet? Surely the cabinet will be locked. Lydia fought to keep the grin off her face. Maybe she could get out of it after all. Ah, we cosmics know a little secret about the cabinet, Anne said excitedly. Lydia's heart sank down to the heels of her socks. If you bang upwards on the underside of the cabinet, the left door will fly open. Then you can reach in and get the cup. When you shut the cabinet door afterwards, it'll lock automatically. Anne, can't I do something else? I'll do anything else. If I get caught and my mum and dad find out... Lydia trailed off miserably. She dreaded to think what they would do. Anne's eyes narrowed. Lydia, you've got a decision to make. I thought we'd be doing you a favour by letting you join our group, but if you don't want to belong, that's up to you. The choice is yours. And with that, Anne marched away. Anne, wait, please. Lydia was left staring after her helplessly. As Lydia watched, Anne strode out of the school gates and turned up the road. Lydia looked around. She'd never heard the school so quiet. Now that the wind had died down, there was no sound at all, just the rasp of her own anxious breathing. Lydia walked slowly back into the assembly hall, her feet dragging. Closing the door very quietly behind her, she automatically reached out for the light switch. Her hand was on it before she remembered old Baldy. Lydia, what are you doing? She muttered to herself. The hall was in semi-darkness with the lights off. There was just enough daylight coming in from outside through the high windows to cast silver-grey streaks of light throughout the assembly hall. Lydia started to walk across to the trophy cabinet, but her shoes clicked and echoed on the wooden parquet floor like tap shoes. Raising her heels, Lydia tiptoed the rest of the way, wincing as even the soles of her shoes still made a noise. And there was the sports cup. It now looked dull and shadowy in the half-light of the hall. What should I do? Lydia whispered. If she took the cup and could put it back without being found out, she'd be part of the Cosmics. Anne had started the Cosmics, and it hadn't taken Lydia long to learn that everyone wanted to belong to Anne's group. Lydia suspected it had more to do with the fact that Anne's dad owned the local electronics shop than for any other reason. That meant Anne always brought in the latest gadgets from her dad's shop for the Cosmics to use. Tape recorders and electronic filofaxes, CD Walkmans and the latest miniature video game sets. She'd even brought in a camcorder once.